get a grip of its budgets after being put into financial special measures. The Bristol charity giving victims of slavery the chance of a fresh start in life after years of abuse.
I am scared. They are taking my virginity and they are using me.
And the Gloucestershire Nature Reserve that's now home to a very rare butterfly. Good evening. Bristol's Southmead Hospital has been told to get a grip of its budget after becoming one of only 5 hospitals in England to be put into financial special measures. It means they'll face extra scrutiny from NHS England managers who want the hospital to balance the books as soon as possible. Scott Ellis reports.
2016 has seen record pressure on the NHS, and in England, a record deficit. It stands at £2.5 billion. Now, Southmead Hospital and 4 others have been put in financial special measures. It is big business here at the Trust. They have an annual budget of £550 million, 8,000 staff. Until recently, they spent £1.9 million every month on agency staff. Well, now they've got 1 month to come up with a plan to balance their books. Hospitals run up the biggest debts in the NHS, and Southmead is no exception. The latest figures show their deficit stands at more than £48 million. That's nearly 10% of its overall budget. Now in financial special measures, the Trust has to reshape its business plan. Managers say they've already cut 153 jobs since March, but will continue to reduce agency staff to cut the wage bill at the hospital. They also plan to increase the amount of elective surgery over the summer, which will boost their income. NHS England saying with an ageing population, it's more important than ever that hospitals don't eat up the NHS budget.
We need to also free up funding to invest in GP services so that people can get easier access to appointments with their family doctor. We need to expand mental health services, and we want to do more for cancer patients and other big killers and disablers that the NHS needs to respond to.
South Gloucestershire and North Somerset clinical commissioning groups have also been put into financial special measures today. The hope is they too will benefit from having closer scrutiny of their accounts by specialist NHS managers. Managers here at the North Bristol Trust are keen to point out this is financial special measures. They say the standard of care for patients should stay the same. Operations and appointments will go ahead as normal. The question is, can they keep up that quality of care and balance the budgets in future? Scott Ellis, BBC Points West, Bristol.
A woman who was smuggled across Africa and Europe before being kept in a basement in this country for 10 years has been talking about her life story. Favour is now in Bristol, being cared for by the charity Unseen. It's thought by the end of this year, nearly 3,600 victims of human trafficking will have been reported. Our Home Affairs correspondent Fiona Lambden has been to meet Favour, whose words are spoken by an actor.
Favour has just turned 40. She's had the most terrible of lives. Sold by her father to one of his friends, she ran away from her village in Nigeria, unknowingly straight into the arms of a woman who ran a brothel.
I was living in a park begging people for money to eat food. That was where I met a man who told me about Madame Becky, who helps young people. When I went to Madame Becky, we were put in very small rooms. Men came and slept with us. We never saw the money at all. In the night, it was very busy, maybe 10 men. They sleep without condom, and they are very tall.
So you escaped from her?
I had to escape. I am scared. They are taking my virginity, and they are using me. And I don't have any say. The man sleeping with me, they are not my husband. I don't know the kind of sickness they have.
For the next 2 decades, 4 men controlled where she lived, what she ate, and who she slept with. She was moved like a piece of baggage across Africa and into Europe, shoved into the back of trucks and squeezed into rowing boats. The last leg of her journey saw her smuggled into England alongside fridges and televisions in a shipping container.
When I arrived in England, it was dark. They put me in a barrel. 2 people pushed me out and Madame was there waiting for me.
And for the next 10 years, Favour was invisible. She didn't exist to the outside world, living with a family in England trapped in their basement.
I am living a miserable life, serving people, cooking, just a slavery job. There is a washing machine there, but I'm not allowed to use it. I am a slave. Men can come and go. It's like they take my brain. For 10 years, I didn't go outside. Whenever my boss wanted me, I had to sleep with him or the uncle. I am like a second wife.
After a decade, she was discovered by a neighbour who helped her escape. And after years of being someone else's slave, she is now finally free. One of many women restarting their lives with the help of the West Country charity Unseen. In just 12 weeks, their safe house has transformed her life.
They make me know that I'm still a woman, that I still exist. I'm sleeping with light. I can go to the toilet 24 hours. I can have a bath, bed, soap. Unseen make me see heaven.
Can you describe what it felt like to be owned by someone for so many years?
Look at my age now. I don't have a husband of my own. I don't have a child of my own. I feel bad, but at least I have hope. At least I can speak to you.
Yeah.
Fiona Lambden, BBC, Points West.
Now, you may remember Daryl Allison, the Somerset teenager whose family raised money to pay for his leukemia treatment after the NHS refused to fund it. Daryl is in isolation in hospital after undergoing his second transplant, but he wanted people to know he's in good spirits, so he sent us this message.
Hey everyone, today I'm finally having my transplant, and we just can't thank you all enough for really pulling together and helping us to get to this point. So, road to recovery now, and we'll try to keep you updated as much as we can.
Now, the Prince of Wales visited the Daneway Banks Nature Reserve in Gloucestershire today, where he had a little altercation with a plaque. The Prince's Foundation donated money to help buy the site, which is home to some rare species. Here's our Gloucestershire reporter, Steve Nibbs.
The natural beauty of Daneway Banks is matched by its ecological and scientific importance. Here, rare species of plants and insects thrive on the reserve that's never been cultivated. Whilst Daneway is special for many reasons, this is the star of the show. The rare large blue butterfly, which we were lucky enough to film. It became extinct in 1979, but they've been breeding here thanks to a clever trick the tiny caterpillar does by fooling red ants that thrive at Daneway into taking it back to the ant nest.
And at that point, the caterpillar does the dirty, really. And what it does, it starts to eat ant grubs. And it spends the rest of its life, over another 10, 11 months, underground in the ant's nest, eating ant grubs. It forms a chrysalis underground in the ant's nest and then emerges, climbs through the tunnels and out into the outdoors.
Sadly, the Prince of Wales didn't get to see the large blue, jokingly blaming the assembled press.
You're probably scared off every butterfly. Nothing could give me more pleasure than to unveil this plaque, wondering what on earth it's going to say.
Oh no! Things never go according to plan. There it is.
One of the things I've been trying to encourage for so many years is the reintroduction of coppicing regimes, which make the whole difference to, for instance, the heath fritillary and other butterflies, let alone dormice and other creatures and insects that depend on those sort of management regimes.
And that's worked here. With careful management of the land, adders, slowworms and lizards live alongside the cowslips and the orchids. And of course, the large blue. Steve Nibbs, BBC Points West at Daneway Banks.
We've got some breaking news for you. The energy giant EDF has announced tonight it has called a board meeting for next week to make its long-awaited final investment decision on the planned nuclear power station at Hinkley Point. We'll, of course, bring you more on that story throughout the day on Points West, starting in breakfast tomorrow morning. That's it from us. We're back with you tomorrow.